Welcome to the training module for how to administer the CogAT online to our second grade students. We will be giving the CogAT in January. The window is January 19th through 29th. Each campus will determine which days make sense for them to give this test. The CogAT is made up of 3 batteries: verbal, quantitative, and nonverbal. Each of those batteries has 3 smaller subtests to them. Each subtest is about 10 minutes long, 15 once you consider directions and samples and so on. We recommend that you give 1 battery each day. So for example, on January 20th, you might give the verbal, and on the 21st, you might give the quantitative, and on the 23rd, you might give the nonverbal. If you need to give it in smaller chunks, you certainly can, but we are recommending 1 battery for each day. It's also advised to test first thing in the morning, and then in between each subtest, giving your students stand up and stretch breaks. And then as a grade level, you'll also want to figure out when will you give your makeup test. And the nice thing about that is that you can give more than 1 subtest at a time. So if you have a student who missed the verbal and a different student who missed quantitative, you can actually test them at the same time. This year, we will not be administering the ITBS because we have MAP testing this year. We can rely and look at that data in conjunction with the CogAT instead of giving the ITBS. Supplies, of course, you will need Chromebooks, 1 per student. Every second grader should have a Chromebook, but on the off chance that they don't, you'll want to borrow from another grade level, work out a plan with a partner teacher, alternate days of testing, but each campus would need to figure that out. For headphones, all of your students will need headphones or earbuds of some sort for testing. Your campus testing coordinator should be able to help you out with that. We have headphones that have been used for TELPAS training or testing. And really regular headphones will work, earbuds, and students can always bring their own. And again, if you don't have enough headphones, your team will just need to work out a plan for that. So it is recommended that the second grade lead teacher starts a Google Sheet for the grade. And on this Google Sheet, you'll want to have 3 different tabs or categories. One is a new student list. Data will be pulled and uploaded to Data Manager on January 7th. So any student that enrolls after this date will need to be added as a walk-in by your GT specialist. And if you can collect all these names on one sheet in Google, that will make it easier for the specialist to keep track of who needs to be added. On this Google Sheet, you would also want to consider having a tab for students who need to take a makeup test. So on this, you might list something like the student, the homeroom teacher, and the test, either the subtest or the battery that they need. And then your grade level can work together to figure out how makeup testing will go once you have a list of all those students. And then you also want to make sure that your grade level knows who all has accommodations, and maybe keep a list of those students and their accommodations on a 3rd tab of the Google Sheet. And then when it comes time for testing, if you need to pull students who have accommodations, you might pull by like accommodations, just like we would do for other forms of testing. So when it comes to proctoring a test session, you will go to Data Manager. The website is here. You will, if you're new to second grade, you will be getting a welcome email in early January with your login credentials. If you are a returning second grade teacher, you don't remember your password, you should be able to reset it. If you have any trouble at all, your specialist can help you. Audra Rowell can help you. The assessment department can help you. So just reach out and let us know. So when it comes time to give the test and you've logged in, you'll click on the proctoring tab because that's what you'll be doing. You'll be proctoring the CogAT. And then you'll see many sessions. Each teacher will have a session for her class. And so you'll want to find the session, your session for that day. So my last name is Hampton and I'm giving the verbal. So here's my session that I'm going to be giving. And I can see that the date I'm giving it, the form that I'm giving, the level, the actual battery and subtest, and then my session code, which is what the students are going to need. So this is how the teacher, gets into the proctoring component. For students, what will be important is they're testing through the Riverside Data Manager app, which has been pushed out to all student Chromebooks, and they will need to be logged out of their Chromebook. Do not have them log in like we normally would. They won't be able to access the app if they're logged in. So you'll need to make sure that they're logged out. And once they're logged out, they'll go to the apps area, which is in the bottom left-hand corner of their screen. They click on that. They'll see all these options and they'll go to Riverside Data Manager and open that up. And then once they've opened it up, a blue screen that says take a test will pop up. So they click on that and then they go to their login screen. There are two different ways you can have your students log in. I prefer the way on the right side where they only have to know their student ID and their session code. So once students successfully log in, they will arrive on a waiting to test screen or a draw screen. And they'll be able to draw on that draw screen while they're waiting. And this will pop up after every subtest. Once you have all your students who have logged in, and this is where you'll want to check on your proctoring screen. So here's your list of students. Once you see, yes, I'm only testing 2 students today, they're all here, you'll go over to this button and click Approve All. To proctor an audio-led session, you'll see your list of students. Once you've approved them all, they'll move down the screen. They'll be under a section called Approved Students. And this is where you'll be able to see how they're progressing. For example, this student is on question 1 of 22, and they have 9 minutes left. And students will also see a timer counting down on their screen. Once all of your students have completed a subtest, you'll be able to click on this Continue Testing All button, and it will automatically move your students to the next subtest in the sequence. When you are done with testing for the day, so you finished all 3 subtests of the verbal test, that's when you'll click End Testing All. This makes it a lot easier because your kids won't need a session code for every subtest. They won't have to be logging in and out every time they finish something. You can just keep them going. If after the first subtest you find that your students need like a stand up and stretch break, that is super easy to do. You'll still be able to click continue testing all. You would just want to wait to do that until you're ready to continue testing. When you are done for the day and you've clicked end testing all, and you'll know because you'll see completed, that's how you know a student is done with the test. But make sure that students don't close their Chromebook before they've hit complete. You want to make sure that on your status screen it says completed for all your students, that they have hit complete, that you're ready to hit end testing all. And once you've done that, then they can close their Chromebooks. And then once they've shut down their Chromebooks, when they turn them back on, then they'll be able to log in like they normally would for an assignment. There are some emergency functions. There's a pause button, and that will just freeze the timer and the test, saving everything that the student has done up to that point. So if you have a student who all of a sudden needs to use the restroom, hopefully they've done it beforehand, but sometimes you just have those those moments. So you can pause. You might also, if there's a fire drill, you might pause in that situation as well. If you hit exit, then you're going to close the test and log the student out of the system. This also will save student responses. It will freeze the timer, and then you can finish the test later. If you hit cancel, that will close the test and it won't save anything, which means students will be starting over. And then extended time, unless a student has accommodations for extra time, you should not be using this button. And this is really to help those students who need that accommodation. There are different arenas of help depending on what your need is. If it seems to be specific to data manager, like there's a system error, technical concern, in that case, you would want to reach out to data manager as they would be able to help you. If there's a student who's not in data manager, or you aren't sure which test to give, or the student devices aren't ready for testing, like you don't see that app, in that case, then you would want to contact somebody within the district depending on the situation. A campus tech, the research and assessment department, Pam Gray or Melissa DeSimone, or Audra Rao, also Leslie Russell. Any of those people can help. And often your GT specialist can help as well. She is quite the expert with this platform. So that might be your first person to reach out to. She can often troubleshoot for you. Resources for after testing, we will be offering an optional PD. It's called GT, Understanding the ITBS and CogAT. Well, really, it will just be called Understanding the CogAT. You can choose one of the 3 sessions to attend. We'll do them all on Zoom after school. This is optional, but if you are new to 2nd grade in the past couple of years, you are highly encouraged to attend. It is the training that we did a couple of years ago. So if you've been around for a while, you've probably gone through this training, but of course you are always welcome to attend as well. You would need to register in EduGents. The link is on the you can find it by searching for CogAT in EduGents. As far as makeups are concerned, you still want to maintain that formal testing environment. The nice thing is you can have multiple students and tests can be in the same room. So you could be testing all the students who miss the verbal, even if they're from multiple homerooms. You could be testing students who miss quantitative, and you could even be testing students who miss nonverbal all at the same time. Of course, you want to think about how big your group is, what their needs are. Um, when you are naming it, you can keep with the same type of naming convention, but add MU for makeup at the end. So that's easier for you to identify when it comes time to proctoring. Accommodations, extra time can be given. You would just need to have a separate test session for those students. And in that case, you might need to name your sessions a little bit different to make it easier to find and to denote it so that it's not used by mistake. You can simply put ET for extra time at the end. We are offering our remote learners this testing opportunity. We offered one on November 13th. We had a few students come to that. We will also be offering a testing session at the administration building on February 5th and February 13th, but you do not need to worry about contacting those parents. We will do that here at the district level. We have a list of students who are remote and we have their parent emails, and we will send them an invitation. And then we'll keep the campuses updated as to what students are taking advantage of that, and make sure that you guys get those results. Beyond the 13th, we don't have any definite makeup dates, but we do have some tentative plans, and we'll keep you all updated on that. So after you have watched this, your team will want to talk through, okay, so now what does testing look like at our campus? Who will, as far as makeup testing, who will run it? When will it occur? Where will it occur? Also, you'll want to talk about accommodations, who all needs them, what will our small groups look like, who will lead those, do they need extended time, do we need to think about directions other than English? So while the actual test is not in other languages, we can administer the directions in many other languages, including Arabic and Vietnamese, just to name a couple, and Spanish, of course. So your grade level will definitely want to have this discussion and just talk through the process as a team. You probably want to include your campus testing coordinator and your GT specialist, and possibly interventionist as well. And then as far as creating a test session, your GT specialist will do that for you. So you do not need to worry about that at this point in time. But your session will basically be your campus name and then your last name and then the name of the test. So when you get ready to proctor, that's what you'll want to look for. All right, this will be our second year of online testing. The good news is with remote learning, we know all of our students are a little bit more comfortable with the Chromebook. So that's really good, exciting news. But with online testing, you should have your results within about 24 hours. So by late January, you will have 2 administrations of MAP and this administration of CogAT, which will really give you a great picture of where your kids stand and how they're doing. So you guys are going to do great. You're amazing. And we appreciate you guys being a part of this process. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.